Along with the new Elite Mode rework, we got two maps that are jam-packed with hidden details pertaining to the lore, especially tying in with the Calamity, and I'll cover everything you need to know about these maps. Hello Internet, and welcome to TDX Theory. And now it's time to cover our first new map, which is Castle Valley. While this map looks like an ordinary snowy tundra with a tiny village, there is actually a frosted corpse of a Calamity and multiple Calamity stones scattered around, which I will get into later. I do think that this map is actually the same map as the Arctic Research Base from the 2024 Xmas event Chapter 1, and specifically, I think that Castle Valley takes place in the past, while the Arctic Research Base takes place in the future. It would make sense that this map takes place in the past, since it released along with the Elite Mode rework, which covers the theme of the medieval past. Now, you may wonder on how the heck this map is the Arctic Research Base, when they obviously both look nothing alike. Well, since this does take place in the past, things are bound to change, but let's point out the similarities that they do have. Both maps take place in the Arctic/snowy region. Both maps have a cave entrance. Both maps have a spawner pad that are directly diagonal to the cave entrance. And lastly, both maps have this fiery crater at the top right. Now, I don't necessarily think that these fiery craters would be the same, since they would definitely die out years into the future. But speaking about the craters, this one is gone because it was replaced by a building, and this one is gone because a bunch of debris fell on it. More evidence pertaining to this map being the Arctic Research Base is Project Calamity from the tutorial mode map, where it says how the GDA discovered an ancient rock somewhere after blank attacked blank, and I think we can piece together what exactly happened in this map. Essentially, something or someone attacked this Calamity entity, and while we don't know who it was most likely a frost-like entity as it takes place in a cold environment, and there are also remains of two huge frozen hands next to this cave. After the entity attacked the Calamity, it seemingly won, and pieces of the Calamity stones that were from the Calamity entity were left there as its corpse froze and laid there over the years. Then, the GDA found these Calamity stones as well as other anti-Calamity crystals somewhere else in Castle Valley, and they decided to build their Arctic Research Base here, as for easier use since the crystals were already here after all. And that is the lore of Castle Valley. Now, for our second map, it's called the Cathedral, which has another Calamity rock with heads just like the Halloween event. There are also these statues which seem to resemble some sort of dragon humanoid, but I'm not too sure, but to me, they look like an Eradicator. This map seems to take place in an ancient desert, as there are giant pyramids with floating rocks. It seems like Dr. Xenon got to this Calamity rock before we did, as there's another one of her portals that are frequently seen in other maps. Another detail in this map is that on the Cathedral, it says this Latin phrase, and I'm totally going to butcher the pronunciation, so bear with me here. Et quod tempus sine del uldicationes moviat, which is Latin for "and that time moves without the goddess of vengeance." Now, we know that in Chapter 3 of the Halloween event, there's also this banner that talks about Dea Vindicek, which also means the goddess of vengeance, aka Dr. Mallory, which if you don't know who she is, check out my previous theory on her. Now, this phrase seems to praise Dr. Mallory as she is a high-ranking demon in the Calamity faction, wherein the Calamity faction will live on even if Dr. Mallory or Redacted is gone. As the name suggests, cathedrals are used as a place of worship and religion, and this cathedral was made by the Calamity faction as the sigil is engraved to the structure to worship Dr. Mallory, aka the goddess of vengeance. I do also think that this cathedral was also made to praise this single Calamity rock, as their sort of cult or religion would suggest that this rock being here was a blessing or a gift from the goddess of vengeance, hence why they built this cathedral to worship it. And that's all for the lore of the two new maps. And remember, that's just a theory. A TDX game theory. Thanks for watching.